14th, a Soho bar, a speakeasy. It's you and me, and I'm feeling free. It's crazy how everyone lives up like Top Gun. It's you and it's a cloudy night to smoke one. Oh, things happen when you move to the city. When you're with me, oh,
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Monday and it is the beginning of me being home for the next 3 weeks due to the coronavirus quarantine. Well, technically, because I am a manager at the child care center at the country club I worked at, I believe the country club is still open, but because the public schools are closed, we decided for the best interest of our members and ourselves that we need to close down. I am very blessed and thankful that my job is taking care of me and I am still being paid full-time hours despite not being at work. So I'm working from home, but I don't actually have any work to do for childcare, which is a really crazy situation to be in. So I am planning on doing a ton of reading, doing a ton of video work, and obviously doing a lot of writing. Now today I had my alarm set to wake up at 6:30, and yet it did go off, but it vibrated. It didn't actually ring to wake me up, so I ended up not getting up until 8. I'm not looking to sleep in every day or anything crazy. I am wanting to wake up basically at the same time that I was waking up when I was going to work, getting ready, and mainly working on reading, writing, and video stuff. I've mostly been reading, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. I just had my first meal of the day. I have been focusing a lot on beef liver and organic eggs. The beef liver is actually really delicious. I don't know why I kind of went away from eating it, but I've been eating it daily for the last 5 days or so because it is super cheap and it is packed with nutrients that are fat soluble too. I don't try to talk about it too much because I'm not a nutrition channel, although I am very interested in the subject, but I do eat a mostly animal product based diet, kind of known as the carnivore diet if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm probably gonna walk the puppies again. It's about that time, and then I'm gonna come back, turn on my Forest app, which kind of keeps me from looking at any other apps, and get to work. I've also can set a timer, so to speak, so that you only want to be on a certain app for 20 minutes a day or half an hour a day. So I did that mainly with Instagram because that's the one, for whatever reason, can suck me in super hard, and I guess technically YouTube, but I feel like YouTube's too important, especially because that's where I get my news, to put that sort of timer on. But the Instagram one, I have it set to 20 minutes, and once I hit that 20-minute limit, it kind of bumps me out of the app. I can override that, but obviously I personally don't want to, so I don't. And I think that kind of stuff is going to be really, really important moving forward, working exclusively from home, because I want to get my manuscript completely edited now that I'm not even leaving the house. Vegas update, that's canceled. So now we're just kind of figuring out. The airlines are completely, I mean, they're nuts to try to get in contact with, and we're trying to figure out if we can just get a credit, because it's not that we won't go on this trip in the future at the end of the year, or God forbid even next year. But yeah, that is just absolutely a no-go, because my friend that's in LA, they're completely shut down. So it's just not even feasible. And my trip back to Iowa mid-April is a little bit up in the air. I was gonna go over Easter weekend. I would be driving, so it's not necessarily the travel that's the issue, as much as my mom is over 55, so I don't want to expose her to any unnecessary risk if I don't have to. Everything is a little bit up in the air. On the bright side, I guess I was able to get my tattoo yesterday. The whole shop was really popping, which was crazy. I mean, I had a preset appointment, but I could hear that a lot of people were in in there possibly just to get out of the house and get something done and do something. Beautiful shop, extremely, I mean, it's awarded the best in Columbus, I think for a reason, because it is so sterile, safe, professional. I could not have had a better experience. Let me show you guys. I'm on my stairs, so we'll see if that... So those are my yin yang koi fish, which is partially inspired by Ocean and Moon Spirit and Avatar: The Last Airbender. You see them in the season finale of book 1 at the Northern Water Tribe. Kind of goes with my Aang arrow in the back. A bit of an Avatar theme going on. But yeah, it took less than an hour. He's been doing it for over 18 years, so he was so fast, so gentle. There's definitely, I mean, none of it I would say was pleasant, but there were definitely some points, especially I think when the needle was hitting the spine, that I was just like, oh God. And I was able to talk to him throughout the entire thing. But there were definitely some points where I could feel my legs, especially, where they would like start twitching out, or I could feel like sometimes my shoulders would like try to twitch. When he said he was done, I could not believe it. I think I asked him like 4 times, like, are you sure? Are you positive? Are you serious? I don't believe you. Because it felt so fast. And even though there were points that were painful, I was still bracing myself. I was like, okay, any minute now the pain is really gonna start. And it like never got to that level. And it's so black and it's bold and it's easy to see and it's really beautiful and I love it so much. I could not be happier with the piece, and I definitely will go to him in the future because he was incredible. His name is AJ in the Columbus area at Evolve Tattoo if anybody is interested. Our D&D campaign that was supposed to happen this weekend is canceled. These next few weeks are going to be very testing because of the social isolation, and as somebody who is extremely extroverted and not excited about it, but I'm excited to get a lot of work done. So anyway, and I'm sorry for these vlogs where you're gonna see just a lot of my house, a lot of being indoors in the same location, so bear with me with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go walk the puppies, get some fresh air, move my body a little bit, come back, turn on the Forest app, and start writing for the day. And I'm aiming for between 4 to 5 hours, so I will check in with you guys later. I answered your guys' comments and stuff on my latest vlog on YouTube, and thank you so much for all the concern and just sweet comments. And obviously, as I will probably continue to say throughout my videos for the next month or so, please be safe, please take good care of yourself and your hygiene, and make sure you're doing what you can to isolate yourself, even if it's not easy for you, as it's not for me. But I also did some more work on chapter 2. I am 1000% going to send this out to my secret editor friend today because I just have no excuse not to. But I think I'm gonna take like a little, like half an hour long break from it because I don't know why this ending portion of the chapter, like where I'm ending the chapter, is making my head hurt. I think it's possibly because I haven't written for the last 4 or 5 days because of the coronavirus outbreak and just how that's been affecting my personal and business life. So it's almost like I'm out of practice, which is so crazy how not writing for less than a week has done that to me. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a minute and focus on some reading. Let me talk about the books. Okay, so according to my last TBR video, I was going to read Winter Song by S.J. Jones and then get into the Guinevere Deception by Kirstine White. Oh, this cover is so freaking gorgeous. Okay, I am way more interested in reading this book than this one, but I decided to read the first chapter chapter or so of both. I did this yesterday to try to figure out exactly which one I was going to go for first. And I just have to show you the S.J. Jones one. Okay, this I actually really like, except for the font. I cannot read this font at all, but I like that there is a little picture. I'm always a big fan of illustrations, whether it's of characters or maps. We have the you know, for my loved one or friend or whatever. And then the acknowledgements. I have not seen an acknowledgement at the beginning of a book, especially a fiction book, for a hot minute. Let me know the last fiction book you read that had the acknowledgements right at the beginning of the book instead of at the end. I usually always read the acknowledgements, but they make more sense at the end. I don't know, I was just caught off guard by that, and I actually tried to read through it a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but there's this whole sentence in the middle of the acknowledgement that's in all caps. Let me read it to you. About being asked to write acknowledgements for the book, and she said, sure, absolutely, without necessarily thinking just what an impossible task it would be. In many ways, writing acknowledgements was a lot harder than writing the whole of Winter Song. Who do I include? What if I forget to include someone? This is a part that is in all caps. What I'm about to read, this whole next sentence. What if I inadvertently offend somebody powerful with the ability to make or break my book? Okay, S.J. Jones, a little paranoid there. And then you guys try to tell me what this says. What does this say to you? I realize now that it's trying to say overture. So instead of there being a like chapter 1, chapter 2, there's just this design. So then there is a page and a half of trying to be kind of storybooky, where it's like, once there was a little girl who played her music for a little boy in the wood, and the entire page and a half is like this. And then it gets to what I'm assuming is saying part 1, the Goblin Market, and then something from a poem or a sonnet, where we must not look at the goblin men, we must not buy their fruits, who knows upon what soil they fed their hungry, thirsty roots? Which is pretty cool, but it's not hers. It is by Kirstine Rossetti. And then we finally get to chapter 1. And again, it's weird to me that there's no chapter 1. None of these chapters are actually numbered. And it gets a title. The chapter title is Beware the Goblin Men. So we have part 1, the Goblin Market. There is a sonnet that says, we must not look at the goblin men, to which you come to the first chapter, which the chapter heading is Beware the Goblin Men, to where the first line of this book is Beware the Goblin Men. And if that sounds like a lot, that's how I felt by the time I got to chapter 1. I was just like, oh my god, I am exhausted. If you guys saw my TBR for February, then you kind of know that I don't have high hopes for this book. I listened to a lot of S.J. Jones because she had a podcast called Pub Crawl that she did with her friend who is also a literary agent. I mean, she worked in the industry, so she has a lot of insider information that could be really interesting. But the way that she would talk about certain subject matters and her view on the world is just not one that I generally jive with, and that I think is really cringy and outdated. And so I had a feeling that I was not going to like this book. Those 8 pages leading up to the first chapter was just so much. Is it even worth wasting my time reading about? I kind of like the premise because it's a retelling, quote unquote, of the Goblin King from the Labyrinth movie. I really like that movie. I really like the Goblin King, but man, I don't know if it's worth going through all this. I mean, I am about 30 pages into this book and I'm really excited to get back into it. I liked it right away. It's also a bit of a retelling, but it has to do with Camelot and Merlin and King Arthur. I'm gonna sit down. That was like quite the interlude. But anyway, yeah, and so I'm gonna get to reading this right now because I'm really excited about it. So I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Begnati Naphilia Porek Ort. I know I butchered that, but that's how you say Happy St. Patrick's Day, or like have a Blessed St. Patrick's Day in Irish. I've been legitimately trying to learn Irish the best that I can, mostly off of like the Duolingo app and listening to Irish music and a few other language learning apps that I've been getting into. I think I convinced a close friend of mine to start learning as well, which will definitely make it easier if I actually have somebody to bounce these words and phrases off of, because I don't know anybody in real life that speaks Irish. That's definitely something that I'm going to be diving even more into during this quarantine time. So I woke up a little bit later this morning than what would be ideal, but I also went to bed super late last night because I got sucked into watching some Rick and Morty because I haven't seen season 4 yet. So I mean, it was a delight, but I also slept in later than I would have cared to, which is definitely something I'm going to have to watch out for during this quarantine time, because I am more productive when I wake up earlier in the day, and it's easy to fall out of that habit if I don't have something like a job that I have to get up early to do. But my dogs are happier when I walk them earlier in the day. The whole thing's just better when I do that. But I have been listening to Alexa Dunn's latest live stream. She did like a 2.5 hour long live stream. Alexa Dunn, by the way, is a really big author tuber here on YouTube. She has a ton of traditional publishing advice. She's the one that wrote Brightly Burning, which I spoke about recently, so check that out. It's like a 4 mini book review video I did a few weeks back. That has been really nice to listen to and just get me motivated for writing. And that's basically what I'm going to be working on the rest of the day now that I got some like chores and puppy stuff and calling certain people out of the way. I am checking in on my mom pretty constantly because she is over 55 and she's alone. My brother goes to college, so he's, you know, just hanging out at college, so she's alone in Des Moines right now, so I'm just like making sure she's doing well, which of course she is. She's very healthy, so really no issues there, but I get anxious. I'm like an anxious parent now. Anyway, that's what I'm mostly going to work on today. I think tomorrow is going to be a very like filming heavy, editing heavy related day. Is today only Tuesday? Ay. Okay, well, anyway, so I'm gonna get going and I will talk to you guys in a little bit. I just finished up my chapter 2, finally. It took me a hot minute to like reread and finally get to a point where everything flowed pretty well, and like the ending was a good little zinger. I mean, I still need to get feedback. I sent it off to my secret editor friend, but then also to a few other beta readers. So obviously I need to wait and get their feedback, although I suspect that it will be, you know, unless they have a few things here or there, to be relatively positive, because I am working off of my newly revised, newly added chapter 1, which got nothing but good feedback. I took a little Irish break to work on that. And now I think I'm gonna read some more of the Guinevere Deception, which thus far I really like. I'm so into it. I'm like 60, 70 pages in chapter 5 or something like that. So I'm so excited to jump into that for like an hour or two, and then probably just open up my chapter 3, which I think the first part of the chapter, now working off of this more or less revised chapter 2, like that transition is going to need some work, but I think the second half of the chapter 3 can stay relatively the same, but I'll need to look at it again. So that's what I'll be up to right now. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I had such an interesting morning. It was actually a really good one. I woke up early today. I usually take a shower at night, but this morning I threw Yukon outside, went and took a shower, and this happened the last time I took a shower in the morning, where he starts barking. And he usually never barks. He usually never makes a sound, but he started barking. I can't do anything about it. I can't stop him. And it's usually because he sees a cat or something, and then he'll just start going off relentlessly. He loves cats more than anything in the world. But I'm about to walk the puppies and then probably upload some of this current vlog. Then I'm going to film a My Sorcery of Thorns review video, probably something real quick and easy. And then maybe an Instagram and IGTV video. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but it's just a little, I don't know, I've just never done it before. I might do something about like Goodreads, something also short and quick that I can easily edit and just throw up on my Instagram. So I think I'm gonna do a lot of that filming stuff this morning and then work on my chapter 3. I don't know if I'm capable of editing a chapter per day or even more than that, but we'll see how much work this next chapter requires. But I have to go walk the puppies and get this day started, so I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Dia do it. So me and my puppies just got back from a walk and I'm about to go film that video. I started listening to Morning Sun, which is the 3rd book in the Red Rising trilogy, and I've had trouble listening to it the past few days despite how eager I was to start it when I finished the 2nd book, because it's really dark, it's really intense, and you know, things are already kind of dark and intense right now, so I wasn't quite in the mood for it. But I listened to it today and I almost turned it off because it's really brutal and like emotionally, physically violent, but emotionally just really sad. But then I made it through chapter 3 and chapter 3 was so dope and so fun and like definitely turned everything around. It was great. Made me feel a lot better after listening to it. And there's a new character introduced, and I don't know how much of a major player she's going to be in the series, but her name is Holiday and she has freckles. So I'm a big fan of hers, but I need to go film my Sorcery of Thorns video, so I will check back in with you guys later. So I just finished up filming both my video for the channel, but also an IGTV video. So I might actually edit that one first because I'm very keen to see what I have to do with it or what I can do with it, because I've never posted on that platform before. And I know that I have to keep it under 10 minutes. I think it's 10 minutes or less if you're under a certain amount of followers or something like that. I'm not 1000% sure what the rules are over there. My secret editor friend did email me back with some feedback about chapter 2, and of course she has good feedback pointing out some of its flaws. There are 2 secondary characters that are introduced into the story, and she was saying to maybe, because she knows what is coming in this world, and to shift maybe some of that focused from, let's say, character A to character B, because she knows that character B is ultimately more important than character A. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. A little bit more work on chapter 2 than I was hoping, but she made a point that because this is so early on in the story, you know, how this information is doled out is extremely important. So I'm like, you're right, I can do that. So I'm gonna edit these videos and then just work on writing the rest of the day. Hi, baby. So, Dia everyone. So I just ate some steak, and I've been, instead of like chilling out and playing mobile games, I'm just like on the Duolingo app constantly. It's really fun. I'm really glad I got into this whole language learning. It's really fun, and I sent all these different apps that I've been using to my friend who's interested in learning Irish with me, so hopefully we can bounce some things off each other soon. And I need to go walk the puppies, unfortunately, because it is raining, and it is going to rain the rest of the day and basically the rest of the week to my dismay, but gotta do it. And then I am gonna come home and work on my chapter 2. because I'm gonna reread the email that my editor friend sent to me, and I see what she's saying, and I'm hoping it won't be too difficult to transfer over like certain information from character A to character B. A little bit nervous about it because I was really looking forward to just moving forward, but we'll see. I did, however, finish editing and posted a cute little book-related video on my Instagram because I'm just experimenting with IGTV, and it's about Goodreads. It's about the books that I've read and rated on my Goodreads account. So check that out. It's only like 7 minutes long if that's something you're interested in. It's basically something that I would have posted here on YouTube, but I'm just experimenting since I have the time to do such a thing. So I need to go walk the puppies and work on some writing, and I will check back in with you guys in a little bit. So I just sent my newly revised chapter to my secret editor friend. I cut it down from it originally being 7 pages to 5 pages. I wasn't necessarily looking to do a lot of trimming. That's just kind of how it turned out, but I do think now reading back through it, it's a lot stronger for it, especially moving some of that information from character B to character A. Character B is now much further into the background, which ultimately makes sense with the rest of the story since he's not a major player, where the character B is, he's like a primary character. So I think that is a lot more balanced and a lot more ultimately interesting. I think it's just inherently interesting because it's like a brother versus brother thing going on. So now that that's done, I have to go to the store. I want to do some reading today. So I think my new routine, now that I'm starting to sort of get used to the new normal, that is never working, which is not working or really leaving my house that much, is getting up early, filming / editing some sort of video, writing, reading, everything else. So I think that's going to be it for me for the evening. Oh, let me show you how far along I've been in the Guinevere Deception. I am a solid little over 100 pages in. So I obviously, not only do I have more time to read it, I genuinely just really like it. Oh, so much. It is just so interesting. I like Guinevere. She's a very unusual but charming character, and there is something very creepy and sinister going on in the background that I'm very intrigued by. So overall, a really good read thus far. I'll keep you guys up to date if that changes though. So I think this is going to be all for this Wednesday evening, and wish me luck going out in public for like the first time in 3 days. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and although this morning it was raining so hard, I thought that maybe something broke because the rain was just so loud while I was getting ready, and now it is beautiful out, and it's also going to be one of the warmest days of the year thus far, hence why I get to wear a dress today. It's almost going to be in the 70s, so probably more on the muggy side than the truly fun, comfortable, warm side, but I will take it. So today is going to be interesting vlogging because I'm going to be vlogging a writing oriented video, like really get into the nitty-gritty of what I'm working on. I've been doing kind of like a little bit every day rather than something that's extremely writing focused, and I'm kind of realizing that if I'm going to get through my manuscript with all this time off, then I need to do way more writing focused activities. It's hard because I'm vlogging and doing video stuff on top of it, but whatever. I will make it work. Just to give you a little bit an update of like what I was up to yesterday, I edited and posted a video, so check that out, especially if you have read or are interested in reading Sorcery of Thorns. I did a lot of reading. I really like the Guinevere Deception. It has been such a delightful, interesting read. Listen to more of Morning Star. I'm definitely going through an audiobook a little bit more slowly than I feel like I would have had the coronavirus pandemic not have happened, although it's extremely good and I love this story. It is just so, it's so intense and about like kind of a society falling apart. It's a little too close to home despite how good it is, so I'm not listening to it as intensely as maybe I would have under different circumstances, but I'm still listening to it every day, no worries, because it's still really good. Oh, I want to tell you guys a story. So I was looking through some old photos and videos and I found one of my favorite childcare kids just doing something really hilarious, and I sent it to his mom. I have a handful of parents' numbers like in my own personal phone, especially some of the regulars. She and I ended up texting each other for like an hour last night, and she said, I'm gonna see if I can tell this story without crying. She said that he still wakes up, and he's 3, and he wakes up every morning first thing asking if he's going to childcare that day. And then she sent me a video of her 2 older kids that are like elementary school age, and they said how much they missed me and missed childcare, and I just like wept. That's what I was up to yesterday. I kind of had a bit of a lazier day, partially just because the weather was so awful and unmotivating, but I feel so much more rejuvenated and ready to really sit down and work. So I hope you guys are able to do the same, especially if you're working from home. Let's be super productive and ready to conquer. Oh my gosh, look at how crazy windblown my hair is. I just wore the dress, no sweatshirt, no leggings or anything, and I got hot. I think, ooh, let's pull this up. I think my puppies got kind of hot too, and I went on a real long walk. It was kind of annoying because there was a ton of puddles everywhere, but also it smelled really good because it just rained and everything's getting really green and there are flowers starting to bloom. Like, it is spring. It is so springy out right now. I thought that I'd show you guys what I do when I bring the dogs home after dealing with a lot of puddles and the rain. So as you see, I have a lot of towels, a lot of towels. That's my hamper. Ignore the umbrella. I don't know why it's in there. And so I have to bring them in, dry them off as soon as I can, ideally before they sit down, because the main thing is, even if it rains, everything collects under their belly, and that's where, I mean, I dried them off, but you can see like it just gets dirty, and they both have white for their bellies. I do what I can while their collars are still on, but I found it also helps if I just unleash them, because they usually go straight to their water and food bowls to eat, and then because they're standing, that's when I can take the towels, and I usually need at least 2 to really get under their bellies, and the hardest part, the back of their feet. Yukon is definitely the bigger baby, aren't you, Yukon? He's a big old baby. And then this Burt's Bees deodorizing spray. The spray on this particular bottle really sucks, so I had to put it into this bottle that I just had laying around, but it's just to try to neutralize the odor on them, and it works pretty well. But then I also, this is a Kroger brand odor eliminator, and it's a like all natural. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't irritate not only me but the dogs, because I spray it everywhere. I'll spray it on my shoes and mainly the couch, because Yukon likes to go and lay on the couch. He's a big old couch potato. Let's see if he does it. Nope, he's gonna chill. Oh, my little yoga boy. My little yoga boy. Hello everyone, I am back from eating and I wanted to show you what the habit that I've established. So after eating, it's usually a burger patty or 2 or 3 or a steak. I have been getting a bowl of full-fat whole milk Greek yogurt, ideally grass-fed, but that's not always an option, and raw honey. And then I come over and I get on my little Duolingo app. I try to learn some Irish. I absolutely love the Duolingo app. I paid for it. I was using the free version for a while, but with the way the lessons progress, and I think this is how they purposely get you, you get a certain amount of hearts per day. You generally get 5 hearts per day. Every time you mess up during a lesson, you lose a heart, and then once you're out of hearts, you're done. You can't do anything for another 24 hours. And that actually wasn't a bad system for a while, and it did make me be very careful because I didn't want to lose any hearts because I wanted to do as many lessons as possible. Then it got to a point where they wanted to incorporate more of the spelling and typing out the answers, and that got way too hard for me. I was losing hearts. I couldn't even get through a single lesson. So that's a little sneaky on their end, but I think I did like $60 for 6 months because obviously I want to know that I'm actually using it on a daily basis throughout those 6 months rather than pay for the whole year. I'm really loving it. Some other Irish apps I've been using is, and I might be pronouncing these wrong, but Gaelige. Not as advanced as Duolingo at all, but you just kind of take little quizzes about certain subjects. But the thing that I really like that this app does that Duolingo doesn't is someone pronounces the word to you every single time. Duolingo does that maybe every other question or every 2 questions. There's a voice that comes in and actually pronounces the words of a sentence to you, and this does it after every single word. So there is this app called Nemo, and it's on Irish, also known as just Gaelige. That's how you say Irish in Irish. And it has like words of the day, and you can choose how many words you want to learn. And so you go to your words of the day, and then it will say it to you. But the fun thing is that you can practice saying these words into the app. So for example, Máise de Holé. Máise de Holé. Máise de Holé. Máise de Holé. So then you can hear, shush. So then you can hear how you're doing the pronunciations, and especially with something like Gaelige, the pronunciation part can be really, really tricky. And a YouTube channel that I found that I really enjoy that talks about learning Gaelige is just Learn Irish, and the videos are generally really short. They're anywhere from like 2 to maybe 7 minutes long, so he only does generally like a few words or phrases at a time, and then he also has subtitles, multiple subtitles on the screen. So I really like him too, and between that and some of the Irish music that I've been listening to, it's not necessarily because I'm listening to Irish music I'm able to speak it as much as I'm just trying to familiarize myself with the way those words are said, especially when you see how the words are spelled. So it's just trying to get used to all of that. So I'm going to practice some Irish now. Wish me luck. Everything's so dark now, so I just had a little bit of an intermission talking with some friends, talking with my secret editor friend and a different friend who I have not talked to since the COVID-19 outbreak. I just needed to talk to them and make sure that they were doing okay, and everyone's doing fine. Everyone is just kind of, I'm sure as we all are, like freaking out. On the plus side, which I realized I didn't mention to you guys, but I did in fact get paid today. That was something, I mean, I'm supposed to, but since the country club is shut down completely, not just childcare, I was a little bit anxious about if that was still going to go through. And it did. I got a complete return on my Las Vegas hotel and flight. So financially, I'm actually doing all right. Knock on wood. That definitely has taken some anxiety off me, at least for the next few weeks. If these closures go into April or even into the beginning of May, that's when I might start getting a little bit anxious again. There's only so much we can do now, but I hope that this is a wake-up call for a lot of people to really financially prepare. You know, not that anyone could predict something like this happening. My savings is decent. It definitely could be better. That's definitely something I'm gonna focus more on in the future, is making sure that I fatten up my savings. Who knows what the future will hold. Hello, hello. It is Saturday. I thought yesterday would be the final check-in, but then I forgot to kind of do a like end of the day send-off. So I decided today will be the final day, and really I'm just going to, like yesterday, focus on just getting through as many chapters as possible. I got not stuck on chapter 3. Actually, my secret editing friend and I talked yesterday. It was the first time we chatted since the whole quarantine thing. And she kind of talked me through some things that I was planning on doing with my chapter 3. She kind of helped me out establishing and just streamlining some things. And so I'm at the latter half of my chapter 3. And then once that's done, I feel like I've been saying this for a hot minute, but once that is done, I think chapter 4 and 5 will not need a ton of editing. Chapter 5 maybe a little bit, but it will be pretty easy, pretty fun. And then I can move on to the like climax of the first act, the turning point, which I've been really gearing up for. But hopefully once I'm done with all these edits, I think I won't have to go back. That's kind of the hope. I was talking to my mom about this last night. I first started it in February of 2017, finished my very first full, 85,000 words draft in February of 2018, and then have just been editing it ever since. But whenever I edited it in the past, I would just go chapter by chapter by chapter. And then by the time I just kind of go through the entire manuscript, realize the things I needed to change at the beginning of the manuscript, and then do it all over again. It was just a cycle of just doing the whole manuscript at once. And this time around, you guys have watched me, I've been going back through these first 4 or 5 chapters, like hyper focusing on those. But because of that, and because I've been doing so many edits just in this first section, hopefully once it's done, it's done. So that's what I'm gonna work on. I also need to start working on this vlog. Yeah, so I will check in with you guys in a little bit.
All right, well, I'm gonna throw this on there for you.
All right, well, a complete failure. All right. A lost frame.
Excellent, that's what I want to know. So, go ahead and put that there. Put that bad boy there. Form a ritual. I'm gonna do that one. So, boop, boop, boop. Yep.